Chapter 1: Beautiful Chaos. Phones were not allowed in school, and everyone knew that. It was one of those rules we were warned about the moment we entered the school gates. But really, how did they expect us to reach our families and the outside world when there were no phone booths and we couldn't always rely on the housemasters or mistresses to help us make a call? More than 70% of us were boarders. Just didn't make sense. Only Form 2s and Form 3s were allowed to bring phones to school, according to the student's law. I was in Form 2 somewhere in the middle, not exactly a junior and not a senior either. On the outside, I was the good girl who followed all the rules. But in reality, I had found a way to sneak my phone into school. Not even my closest friends knew about it. I hid it in the sleeve of an old hoodie tucked away deep in my trunk. Late at night or during early prep, I'd steal moments to check messages or hear from home. At home, I was the respectful daughter who listened and stayed away from trouble. But in school, I was something else entirely. I had a hot temper and I didn't let people walk over me. The housemistress and teachers thought I was a role model. My mates? They knew I was not the type to cross. I wasn't notorious, I just didn't take nonsense. The school was full of drama. There were always whispers about who was dating who, seniors and juniors sneaking around, love letters, fights. Somehow I got dragged into one of those messes. There was a rumor going around that I was dating a senior named Alexander. I wasn't, but his girlfriend didn't believe that. She confronted me one Saturday afternoon during dining and caused a scene. Later, things got even worse. Some people started calling me a lesbian because a few girls used to hang around my bed, laughing, sharing stories, sometimes lying down beside me. It was all innocent, but you know how fast stories spread in boarding school. I had two close friends, Beverly and Alex. Beverly was my gist partner. We could talk about everything, from teachers' strange habits to which senior girl had the shortest uniform. Alex was different. He was calm, smart, and had a way of understanding things. The three of us had our space. Some called us the table of gist. There was also Adina, a junior who stayed on my bed most evenings after prep, and Andrea, another junior who brought me provisions from time to time, though I never asked. I guess they felt safe around me. But even though we were just friends, people started to paint a different picture of me. Despite the drama, I was still focused. Then came midterm break. I packed my things with excitement, knowing I'd be home in a few hours. Home wasn't just a place, it was a reset button. The moment I got home, I rushed into the house. My mom, Selena, was in the kitchen preparing a welcome home meal. That smell of spices and aroma hit me so hard with memories that reminded me of all the times I missed out on homemade meals. I hugged her tightly before heading to see my sister Jenny. Her birthday had passed just before I came home, and I felt so bad for not being there. I got her two gifts, one for her birthday and one for Valentine's Day, since her birthday was a day before Val's Day. I even got something for Mum. They were both surprised. Seeing them happy made me feel like I had done something right for once. After dinner, I went to my room and slept like a rock. I needed the rest. Over the next few days, I rested, helped around the house, and most importantly, spent time with Jenny. Jenny was older than me by 8 years. We fought a lot when we were younger, but lately we had become really close, at least closer than I was with James, my elder brother. We would go out on my vacations, see places, try meals at different places, and basically make memories. She was that elder sister whose mere presence changed so much, and being around here felt so good. I was so fond of worrying her, pulling her legs, and basically being the annoying younger sister. She knew the two sides of me, the calm girl at home and the fireball in school. She used to joke and say I was ice and fire in one body. That midterm break ended, and I returned to school like nothing had changed.
Days melted into weeks, and weeks into terms, and before I knew it I was already in my final year soon to complete. School life continued as usual, with some students getting into trouble here and there while others somehow managed to dodge it. About a month before our final exams, the school hosted the annual student fair, a traditional send-off event to celebrate final year students. It was the school's way of saying congratulations and goodbye in grand style. The fair lasted for a full week, filled with exciting activities like sports competitions, talent shows, movie nights, and the highly anticipated artist night, where a popular musician was invited to perform live for us. Neighboring schools were also invited to join the celebration, making it even livelier. Each Form 3 class was given a role to play. Our class was assigned the task of choosing a product or food item to sell in order to raise funds for the school. After tossing around a few ideas, we settled on popcorn among other things as our main item. But we needed a popcorn machine to make it work. Luckily for us, our class teacher, who also happened to be my house mistress, owned one and was kind enough to lend it to us. The event was a success, but returning the popcorn machine? That was the real drama. Everyone claimed they'd done their part. A group bought the corn, a group sold it, a group brought the table, and so the popcorn machine just sat in the corner of the class untouched. A week passed. Then one fine Saturday, our class teacher sent for me and 7 other boarders from our class to come and explain ourselves. One girl, known for having a loud mouth, decided to exchange words with her. Next thing we knew, Madam stormed out of the staff room, grabbed a cutlass, yes, a real cutlass, and told us to carry the popcorn machine back to her house or else. You should have seen us 8 girls dragging one popcorn machine and dodging cutlass threats like it was an Olympic sport. I laughed so hard that day I nearly cried. After that whole popcorn machine drama, the class still had some heat to settle. Fingers were pointed, blames were thrown like dodgeballs, and a few people nearly fought invisible battles over who did what and who didn't. But eventually, everyone got over themselves and we moved on because really, what could we do? Time marched on quickly. Before we knew it, half the month had flown by and final exams were staring us dead in the face. Suddenly, the entire school went from cruise control to panic mode. Teachers were racing through topics like it was a 100-meter sprint, trying to cover what they hadn't in 3 years, and students were forcing themselves to absorb it all like sponges under pressure. Those who had spent the term playing hide and seek with their books were now facing the music, and there was fire on the mountain, quite literally. The clever ones looked more confident than ever, walking around like CEOs of WEC. Then there were the magicians, the ones who believed they could either make exam week vanish into thin air or learn 3 years' worth of notes in one night. Well, reality slapped hard, and it seemed their magic had run out. And oh, the rich kids. They sat unbothered, legs crossed, chewing gum, because exams or not, their future was already paved in gold. Honestly, I sometimes wished I was one of them, but then again, I was too smart to rely on family money I didn't have. Eventually, we completed our final exams. Just like that, the journey was over. Tears here and there, long hugs, promises to meet again and go out, that we all knew were probably lies, but sweet lies. What remained was our result. And me, I was feeling confident, maybe even too confident, but who could blame me? I had survived the chaos. But just 2 months after I completed secondary school, everything changed. It happened so fast, I can barely piece the timeline together. One evening, we were watching a movie in the hall, and the next thing I knew, Jenny was in pain and being rushed to the hospital. Mom and Dad were panicking. I was confused, scared, and praying silently. But it was too late. The doctors tried. We all tried. But Jenny didn't make it. It was her heart. Months passed, but the pain remained. Quiet, but heavy. Like rain that refuses to stop falling in one corner of your heart. Mom, who had always been strong, tried to hide her pain. She told me stories about Jenny, how she was proud of me, how she knew I would grow into a woman that stood her ground. But the truth is, I struggled. I became colder, more withdrawn. People thought I was being dramatic, but they didn't understand what it felt like to lose your sister and best friend all in one. I often remember the last full moment we had. That morning, I had broken her phone screen by mistake. I woke up early to help her with breakfast, trying to make up for it. When I greeted her, she pulled my cheeks, looked into my eyes, and said, "I know you think I'm mad at you, but I'm not. I'm not happy you broke my phone, but I love you too much to stay angry. Always be yourself, even when the world misunderstands you. Just don't go around breaking phones, okay?" Then she laughed and kissed me on the forehead. That was the last kiss, the last full sentence, the last piece of joy before everything went dark. That's how it began. That's how I became Nella Hayde, the girl with a storm quietly hiding behind her smile.